Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Can everyone hear me? Great. So I just wanted to thank you all for attending the Staying Relevant During COVID-19 webinar this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lynda Fernandez, and I am the Chief of Communications and Global for the Miami Association of Realtors. Joining me today is our residential president-elect, Daniel Guera. Daniel is also Vice President of Sales for Fortune International Realty. Before we begin, I want to say that as a Miami staff professional, that we miss seeing you, all of our members, on a frequent basis, but we are focused on your safety, health, and well-being, and that of our communities, while working diligently around the clock to ensure the continuity of your business while observing the CDC and government orders and guidelines during this time. Our government affairs team has worked really diligently to have real estate recognized as an essential business and continues to advocate on your behalf to protect your business and home ownership rights. We are very happy to be working for you and look forward to returning to normal business operations soon, once we overcome the current situation that we're all experiencing as a result of the COVID-19 impact. Again, I just want to point out the resources we're providing. If you haven't visited our page, miamirealtors.com/coronavirus, please do so. We are posting very frequent updates there and on our social media pages, which you can access from the COVID-19 page. Again, miamirealtors.com/coronavirus. You can access tools, resources, updates, information, the Miami Realtors Live portal, a schedule of classes and information. So we are doing our very best to keep that updated as the information comes in, as then programs are announced. So we look forward to continuing to do that. We ask that you hold your questions until the end of the program and then wait until the end to enter them in the chat. That way they don't get lost throughout the program. So just hold on to them, write them down, and then enter them in the chat towards the end, please. And I know I saw Daniel is on, so we're going to get started with Daniel, who brings 26 years of experience in Miami real estate and can offer us timely advice on what you can do to stay relevant and better return to doing business when the quarantine is lifted. Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
Good morning, Lynda. How are you?
Good, thank you. So tell us what you're seeing in the market as of the last 2 weeks, like the day-to-day of the business of your agents, closings, listings. What can you describe?
Well, first off, I'd like to say thank you. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. I'm so happy that we had such wonderful attendance. And I'd also like to say thank you to all of our staff at the Association of Realtors and all the leadership and all those that have been involved in helping with this, let's say, very intense, extensive effort over the last 2 weeks to ensure that our business can safely remain open and functioning to provide the services that are very needed to many people in need in our market. And it's really great to have seen how much we've all come together to work as a team and accomplish that not only at the city, county, and state level. So the efforts of Miami Realtors and Florida Realtors has been outstanding. In reference to the market, these are trying times and there is a lot of uncertainty. So we've kind of seen a pretty mixed bag of all sorts of things, be it people that are eager to complete their transactions at the same time as people that are asking for a little more time to consider what they're going to do. We are dealing with some lending challenges in some cases, and other lenders that are moving along better. Gratefully, last year in our lobbying efforts with the association, we were able to accomplish getting approved the remote notary or virtual notaries. So that has come in very helpful, and it was a very timely approval, which started happening in January. So that has really facilitated a lot of closings, and we've seen closings continuing. At 5350 Park, we're up to 52 closings as of Friday. We just actually started those in March, so it's really a good sign of what's happening during this period of time. At Ritz-Carlton Sunny Isles, we're about 90 closings as well, and so we've experienced that. Canvas and Flatiron, which are other projects, also continue closings, and so we're seeing the business move. In terms of sales, we've experienced sales in many different projects as well, such as 57 Ocean, Missoni, Una, in Ritz-Carlton as well. At Ritz-Carlton, Sunny Isles, we were able to complete a transaction of $26 million on the penthouse. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of really great things that are still happening, even though it's a little different how we're having to do that. And I think we're adapting and evolving quickly to that process. In terms of the day-to-day evolution, many of us used, call it technology or communications platforms before, but now that's really shifted into full effect overdrive where if you used WhatsApp, if you used FaceTime, Join Me Online, WebEx, Skype, Zoom, Dot Loop, Brokerment, Form Simplicity, all of those now you're using them at every capacity that they have. I'm sure that a lot of us have done additional tutorials to take advantage of the advanced features and be able to utilize that to be more in communication. We've seen transactions within our organization at Fortune that have been done completely virtually. We've done rentals where nobody ever met each other. It was all done completely virtually. So we're setting up a lot of systems. Fortune had been also moving in terms of technology into a more forward-thinking platform and setup. And we just really threw that all into high-speed development and started launching a lot of different technology platforms. So it's an interesting concept that we've all seen, that we've improved, and truly believe that towards the end of this, we're all going to come out smarter, better, faster at our businesses and serving our customers. Staying connected is what we've been preaching to our agents and to our community and the members of the association, and trying to seize this opportunity that there is to rise above in the process.
Great. So I definitely agree that we're going to come out stronger and smarter, and that this is completely unprecedented. And so many may feel the uncertainty and may feel negativity, but I do agree with you that we will come back stronger, and that we are a very resilient market and a very resilient association. So real estate has been deemed essential in Florida and in many other states, mostly due to our government affairs team's efforts. What are your agents doing differently to continue to abide by the CDC guidelines, but still serve their clients?
Look, we all want and need to make a living, but we have a responsibility as professionals to do it in a safe way. And we have a responsibility to our community, to our colleagues, to our customers, and to all of those that are involved in the process. And we must follow CDC guidelines. We should not be hosting live buyer events. Open houses are not practical. Having a seminar in person is not realistic. We need to be careful in our process and responsible as realtors and as professionals in our business to protect our community, ourselves, and the ones that we love. We can still help consumers in this time of need find shelter, but responsibly. We need to do that responsibly.
Definitely. And I'll share now for some of you who may not have been on our page yet. It's really full of information. We launched this in mid-March, and it's already, and within a few days, it was difficult to organize the information because everything's changing so quickly, and we're getting so many updates, and sometimes we need to interpret that information and then get it out there. But if you go to our website, you have links to the National Association of Realtors coronavirus page, as well as that of Florida Realtors. So they've both developed guidance for realtors in terms of open houses, serving clients. So you should visit that page and click on that section in particular for this information. But I wanted to ask Daniel, what are some of the best practices that are helping agents get through this time?
Best practices in terms of following CDC guidelines are using all of the virtual and remote platforms that exist. We've done a lot of changes to the MLS at the association, where we are providing a virtual tour options and some temporary guidelines on how to use the MLS to be able to better communicate videos and virtual open houses with customers. Having empty properties where we've done an open house where an agent's at the empty property and then communicating that process out to either colleagues or end buyers or customers is a bit of what we've seen success in. And again, utilizing the closing process with the notary, virtual notaries and the remote notaries. Not all banks are up to speed with this. It is very new. It just became approved to be used in January. So some are catching up still, but you're going to see that become more and more the norm. The industry was moving in that direction, and gratefully we're being able to take advantage of that now. And if for some reason a lender is not permitting it, keep looking, because there are others that will allow it. In terms of personal best practices and how to continue in our businesses is have systems, and it's not just tech systems, but have human systems. Get up in the morning, get dressed like you're going to your most important meeting. Shave, put your makeup on, get dressed for business. Find a space in your home where you can be comfortable, where it's presentable, professional, for you to be able to receive that Zoom call or FaceTime or WhatsApp without having to rush to throw a shirt on or to get dressed. You need to be ready for that unexpected customer, because the realtors that are the ones that are going to be able to take advantage of the transactions that are happening now. We all know that transactions have become more difficult, but you need to be ready to seize the opportunity for that particular transaction that's coming, no matter what. Don't lose it because you had to get ready for the possibility of doing that.
Great. We wanted to keep this local, but we know that Miami is one of the top markets for international, and your firm in particular caters to a lot of foreign clients. I just wanted to get a feel for what you're hearing from your contacts abroad regarding the situation, since it's something that is affecting the whole world, and our hearts go out to everyone being impacted worldwide.
Absolutely. I mean, this is obviously unprecedented. The entire world is dealing with this, and so it has many effects, not just for what our effects are here locally, but what their effects are in other countries, and that could hinder their process, whether it's liquidity, whether it's signing documents. Unfortunately, with the remote notary and apostille processes where we're available, if the locations are still open, we can get through the document process. But we are seeing transactions internationally still. In fact, we had 2 transactions last week in 57 Ocean that were from a Brazilian group. We are still seeing international buyers. We're seeing local buyers as well from high tax states, and even within Miami. We had a group from Argentina recently that needed to close on their property sooner because they found themselves here in Miami and not being able to return to their country. So we're still seeing the international process. We are receiving calls from other countries, and still conducting business. In fact, if you look at the Miami MLS online.com, since the 16th, as of Friday, we had a 24.9% increase in traffic on that website. Now, that's a public-facing portal that's translated to 23 different languages, and it's a great resource for the public to get information on our industry. Now, some of those may be people just confirming their house didn't, go down by 30%. Some of those might be bottom feeders, but some of those are also people that are looking for transactions, looking to move, looking to buy something. So that is important, that we are all ready as professionals and as realtors for those people that are looking to do something.
So that's good to hear. And I remember after the last recession and the last downturn, the recession did impact the whole world, and our market came back very strong, in part because of foreign buyers who were looking for opportunity. And in that same tone, the Miami, South Florida markets were hit very hard during the last recession, yet we recovered faster and stronger than most markets in the US, and faster and stronger than most experts predicted. Our market fundamentals now leading into this were very different. We had the longest economic and market expansion in history. We were experiencing increased demand. Our luxury market even was showing a surge in sales. What do you think this means for the market going forward in terms of reassurance for our members that it's a very different situation?
No doubt, this is a global issue. The entire world is dealing with this pandemic, and this will pass. And when it does, Miami and Florida will continue to have its beaches, its fundamentals, its incredible weather, and that is going to maintain being a draw. We also have great fundamentals within our business growth and population growth. The tax advantages are still going to be there for the state, and we are going to be able to benefit from that. Very different to the last time that we had this situation. It was more of a banking and financial environment. Today, banks are still lending. We are closing transactions as of right now with loans. Faster Capital, a division of Fortune International Realty and Group, is completing transactions. In fact, I believe next week we're closing 2 more in Flatiron with loans for foreign nationals. So we are seeing transactions happening. It's not a complete shutdown like what we had seen before in terms of the business. There is a lot of liquidity that is out there. Like I mentioned, banks are still lending. I believe we have a moderate leverage situation, whereas in the last time we experienced a downturn, a lot of people were highly leveraged. People had 5, 10 properties that they had purchased with either minimal or 0% down. Those are not the situations that we're dealing with now. So another important point is that, as you mentioned, we were doing very well in January and February. The numbers were looking great for the year. So this is an all of a sudden change in the production and movement we were having in the market. So we still have low inventory on single family homes. We do not have this surplus of condos that existed in 2008. So it's a very, very different market. This market has a lot more fundamentals. Yes, people are suffering. People are dealing with income issues. People are going to run into some challenges. But I believe it'll be different. And I also believe there's a lot of people that are prepared to move forward that will be able to get us through that process quicker.
In particular, the stimulus package that just passed will certainly help a lot of those people who are suffering due to job loss or loss of salary.
So interestingly enough, the stimulus package, we've talked so much about it, but I'm not sure how many people have quantified that it's 2.5 to 3 times the stimulus package that was issued in 2008. And this is actually the first go at it. We'll probably have additional stimulus packages. So this is a very big push by the government to support us. And it's important to note that the National Association of Realtors lobbied extensively to make sure to incorporate 1099s and independent contractors, which affects so many of our realtor community.
Yes, and on miamirealtors.com/coronavirus, you should go visit Miami members for you and your clients and look at the information that the CARES Act covers in terms of financial resources, financial relief, mortgage relief. We've been sending out the updates through various channels, emails, social media, and on the webpage. But if you haven't seen them, you should take a moment and look over those, because there's information and resources that directly impact you in a positive way. I spoke earlier about my colleagues and our leaders, and I from our CEO to all of our staff and all of our leaders, I am extremely proud to be part of this team who is working so hard to make sure that we overcome during this difficult time. I want to thank my host, Leticia Oliver, and Paul Cauchi, my other host, who are on the call so that they can help if there's any issues. And I also wanted to ask Daniel, you've mentioned a lot, we mentioned Miami.
Lynda, can I just mention something super quick?
Sure.
I just want to let everyone know, I know there's been a couple questions. This is recorded and will be available on MiamiRealtorsLive.com, so you can listen to it again. And I encourage you, it's on your dashboard, to visit Miami Realtors Live. We have training, we have all these types of panels and webinars on there. I just wanted to mention, because I know several people are asking, and it's important that they have able to hear that, and so we've recorded it. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for staying on top of the questions. I really appreciate that. Is there anything else other than Miami Realtors Live, any of the other tools that are helping our members work virtually that you wanted to focus on, Daniel?
Absolutely. Miami Association of Realtors provides a lot of free tools to our members. And I believe that in the past, we haven't seen a lot of our members take advantage of those. And today, it's a great opportunity now that we're basically doing stationary business without having to travel from end to end to become more educated on some of those tools. We have over 350 webinars and trainings available online. If you go to MiamiRealtorsLive.com, you'll be able to get more of that information. We have great free tools like BombBomb, which is a let's call it a email video communication platform. So you can actually put videos embedded in emails for your clients and customers to be able to communicate with them. And in this world, you'll see that a text message or a call are helpful platforms, but the face-to-face really connects and it really transmits emotion and expression. And it's a better process for our business, which is such a personal business, to be able to connect with people face to face. We also have Home Snap Stories, which is kind of a Snapchat for business. We have Home Connect and Agent 3000, which are a drip campaign product. Again, all of these are offered to members of Miami Association of Realtors for free. So they're really great tools that we should be taking advantage of. Now's a good time to become educated in the different facets of the business. If you weren't very involved in short sales and foreclosures, you might want to get to know a little bit about that. If you weren't really involved in international transactions, Miami and Florida have such an international influence that it's important that you can brush up on that. And we have a lot of tools at the association for that. So I strongly recommend that you visit those sites and become familiar with them. And if you have questions, call us and we'll be happy to help guide you through that.
Yes, absolutely. Our Miami professionals are working remotely for the most part, like many local residents are. And we are here to help you. We are here for you. So please do call us if you have any questions and if there's something you can't find, and we will make sure to look for it and to guide you in the right direction.
Something I wanted to add is that, also if you go to MiamiRealtorsLive.com, you can get the government affairs updates. We behind the scenes, we've all been having so many meetings and calls and writing letters to legislators and getting a lot done for our community and for our industry. And that's a place where you can keep up to date on what we've been doing to be able to help. It's a big shout out to Danielle Blake and to Ana Maria Rodriguez in the Legislative Affairs Department, who have been doing so many things along with all of the other staff and leaders to be able to make sure that those that need shelter have the ability to be able to find homes and either rent or purchase.
Absolutely. And also shout out to Evian White de Leon. She is our new general counsel and has been working diligently for weeks before she even joined us on this issue. So I just wanted to mention her as well. A great addition to our team. So before we go to the Q&A, I wanted to say, I know just from the last recession, from life in general, every challenge, every adversity brings opportunity. What do you see in terms of opportunity in the recent and distant future?
So those of us that have been in the industry for many, many years have seen different cycles. And like you said, there's always something on the other side of it. Business will be done differently. A lot of the changes that we're dealing with, a lot of the processes and procedures that we're implementing right now, we're going to see will end up staying. And they're going to stay because they're becoming more efficient. Just this past week, I had the opportunity to be in Monroe County, Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County, all in one day. And it was because we were doing it via Zoom, via conference call, via communications platforms. So we were able to be very effective in that process, in reaching out and having a bigger reach to buyers and developers and customers. These things are going to become more common, and they're going to stay. So rise above, let's say the cream comes to the top, right? Rise above, become more educated in these processes, know more about the different facets of our business, and find how you can be more communicative and provide more service to your clients in many more different ways. Some buyers are interested in buying but don't want to see property because they don't want to meet people. Some sellers don't want buyers or realtors coming into their homes. So provide alternatives for that. Be prepared to have that question. Overcome the objection by having solutions to the expected objection to be able to move forward. We have been negotiating a transaction all week, and it's all been done virtually. And we're seeing buyers that are holding firm on their asking prices and wanting to get at or as close as possible and doing this process. But we're also seeing buyers that are concerned about having to move out, sellers concerned having to move out of their properties during this time. So be ready to have those conversations and deal with those objections. There's a big opportunity for the realtor community to come above and represent more to their customers now than they ever have by getting up to speed with all of these tools.
Yeah, and definitely necessity breeds invention. So I agree that a lot of things that were available that we may not have used will make us more effective in the future. And that'll definitely be a positive. So we're going to get started with the questions. And if you can start putting in your questions now, I think some of you put them in ahead of time. But it's hard to scroll through them, even though Paul's going to help me. If you could start inputting them now, it would help us a lot, so we don't have to go through every question that was already inputted, because then there's other questions that don't apply to the program. Oh, well, I have one here that from Hendrina Callejas. Can the board put together a guide information package on how to properly apply for Florida unemployment benefits? We've been putting out those updates for unemployment since last week. The issue is that when the stimulus package was announced, and it, like Daniel said, it included independent contractors, there wasn't a system in place to administer that at the state level. So they are working on that. The last update I have from Saturday is that they're accepting paper applications to expedite the process, because there may not be an option online for independent contractors. We're going to get out an update as soon as we have more information, but you can go, we posted it on our Facebook page on Saturday, and the Herald article tells you how to apply with a paper application. I don't know if anybody else has anything more recent. Okay, so a question to Daniel is, oops, okay. How do your agents keep on working when sellers no longer want to list and buyers put their searches on hold, as many of them are losing income or their work? And that is from our Ariel.
So that's a really great question. And basically what I would say is that we're seeing all of it. Like I said, we have a mixed bag of situations. We're seeing sellers that are eager to sell. We've actually seen listings goes up. We've seen pending sales go up in the MLS. And we're seeing also people that are asking for their properties to be taken off the market. In fact, the association extended temporarily off market from 30 days to 90 days to facilitate this process. So it's really a mixed bag. We're kind of seeing all of it. And it's important for us to have that conversation with our customers. Sometimes customers are asking to speed up, some are asking to slow down, and others just need our guidance. Right now, you have a very low inventory of homes, and as some sellers are asking to remove their properties from being available, it might be advantageous for others to make their property available with an already low inventory in single-family homes. So we are seeing that. We've seen a good amount of traffic in rentals, and we've also seen a good amount of traffic in development sales, where I just mentioned a few sales that we've done in the past week or two. So there is transactions happening, and there are transactions that are stalling, and we're going to need to address both of them.
Great. Someone asked, do you suggest reducing the price of listings that are new on the market but getting no phone calls?
So, I mean, price is always important, right? In an up market, down market, and in a viral market, we're dealing with that. Always, price is going to be important. Each issue is very specific, and we can't have a broad answer to each individual transaction. But I can say that keep up with information and know your surrounding market. One of the things that we're recommending to our agents is, if you're a Coral Gables expert, you should know if listings have gone up or if listings have gone down. Have pendings gone up? Have pendings gone down? Is there a shift in price? We haven't closed out a month of data, really. I think we started taking, say, some data since about the 16th, and we've been doing it on a daily basis and on a weekly basis at the association. But I think we really need to get to a 30-day process and probably a little bit more to have enough data to be relevant. So it's important to you as experts know what's happened in Brickell, what's happened in Key Biscayne, what's happened in Doral. Have that answer for your customer so that you actually can speak intelligently and advise them on what it is that we need to do. Today, we're a lot more than realtors. We're advisors. And we need to face it that way, where we're getting information to our buyers to help them make proper decisions.
Great. We're getting a lot of questions about rentals in terms of listings and agents who work regularly with rentals. Any advice you have for those who specialize in rentals?
I mean, you need to keep dealing with the COVID CDC recommendations, and we need to keep social distancing. Fortunately, we have some professional condo associations and homeowner associations that are managing the situation well, and they are doing virtual approvals, they are doing virtual interviews, they are doing virtual applications. We have some players that need to catch up. We have some associations that need to get with the times, and I believe we'll end up seeing some legislation come that way. It'd be great if those associations that don't have those processes in place can speed up their process before the legislation comes out, so that they can be one of the good actors and help people find shelter and homes.
We have questions on pricing again. Do you see a possible change on the home prices in general? Should buyers wait? Is there a drop coming in property values?
Look, past performance is not indicative of future expectations. Are people suffering? Yes. Are there issues with unemployment and this process? Absolutely. The CARES Act is very, very large. We've yet to see what that effect is going to be. Will there be some people that are over leveraged or overextended, and that's going to have an effect? I think the answer has to be yes. How much of an effect that will have, it's hard to say. Today, we've received some aggressive offers, and as of yet, we have not seen anyone accept them. So the motivation to jump out and take a low offer is not yet there. The question will be how many will need to, and when that will happen, and how much of an effect it'll have. It's a difficult thing to say, and I don't think you can have the one answer for all markets. Key Biscayne is not Coral Gables. Coral Gables is not Brickell. Brickell's not Doral, and Homestead is is different than Kendall or South Miami. So it's really going to go down to a market per market. And what is the asset class? Are we talking about 200,000 to 400,000, or 500,000 to 700,000, or 1 million to 10 million? It won't be a one-word answer. If anybody gives a one-word answer, I strongly question it.
We do have questions about, again, about rentals. If somebody's lease is up and they have asthma and they can't move, the governor did stop evictions. This particular member would like to know how the tenant is protected.
So the eviction process can be started. You can post, you can record, and you can submit and get in line so that when that process starts again, evictions can continue. Now, in terms of the tenant's protection, they'll need to file their proper paperwork for the CARES Act and for that support, and have honest conversations with your landlords. A lot of landlords are making concessions and trying to work through this. It's better to have part of something than all of nothing. If you need to adjust the rent to make it work and make it a win-win for landlord and tenant, that may be the best line of communication and continuation for all. So I would say definitely have an honest conversation, apply for your government support, as well as be prepared to make decisions.
Great. And then this question is about the homeowners association, something we were discussing on Friday and Saturday, and they have a buyer who can't move in. We are working on this, like the government affairs team, but is there anything you'd like to respond at the moment?
I would just say that it goes back to some of the forward thinking and let's say more organized homeowners and condo associations are prepared for this. They are doing online interviews. They are doing online applications. They are doing virtual process and approvals. It does not stand to reason that if a bank is prepared to lend and attorneys are prepared to complete the transaction, and if buyer and sellers are prepared to move forward, landlords and tenants are prepared to move forward, that all gets stopped because of an association that is not in the here and now prepared to do virtual process. So we'll need to encourage them to advance and be ready for this.
Do you recommend taking properties temporarily off the market since you can't show them because they are in a condominium building that are not allowing showings?
It's a challenge. Going back to the issue, some condominium buildings may be misinterpreting their ability to prevent people having access, visitors, prevent the showing process. So it isn't a condo per condo issue, and I would say that taking it off the market may not necessarily be the best course of action, but maybe adding some additional notes and virtual tools to the listing and working through it. Hopefully, a lot of these associations will, like I said, join the good actors, join the good community, because having a place to shelter is really essential for all, not just some. So we need to help those people looking for properties.
Yes, I just want to reiterate something that Paul put in the group chat. We are going to have programs addressing a lot of these questions in terms of forbearance and the financial relief and some of the legal and government affairs issues. So look for those in the future. There is a question about commercial, and Paul is our chief of commercial. So I don't know who wants to take this one. Maybe Daniel can address it as well. The question is, will commercial real estate take a hit, a big hit, especially when the retail stores are closed?
I would say that, again, I don't believe there's one broad answer for it. Retail is definitely going to be an issue. I think restaurants are going to experience some more challenges. We truly saw this be kind of a light switch where it was turned off, and it won't be a light switch to turn it back on. Everything's going to have to spin back up and come back slowly as we move through this process, and there will be those that are affected, depending on how much the CARES Act package can help those get through this process is going to have a big effect. And there'll be different situations in different areas. I was speaking to some office developers and owners over the past week, and they said they were going to have about 95% of their rents still be paid. That was great. It's really wonderful to see that going forward. That's happening. We'll see how much of that persists. But that was really great news to hear that from a group that has quite a bit of office, that they were having such a good situation in March, receiving the April rents. I don't know, Paul, if you want to add something to that.
Yeah.
I'll just mention a few things. Retail is going to be challenged, especially certain types of retail. For example, hairdressers and barbers that are getting no business right now. We'll probably see some shifts. There's a lot of interest right now in warehousing because a lot of goods need to be warehoused right now. So I think it's going to be partly dependent on the asset class. And we're going to probably see, I think we're going to just see fundamental shifts in residential and commercial, but especially in commercial with the way people are working from home and retail. Amazon's been buying a lot of warehouses, and they bought some in South Florida. And so they're probably going to continue to do that. Companies like Amazon are getting larger. And as you probably noticed, the grocery stores are doing great as well. So I think it's going to depend on a lot of different factors.
Great. Let's see. Go through these questions. Down here. It's more about the rentals. Daniel, thank you for any recommendations for landlords to put in writing any arrangement with tenant to postpone payments if the tenants are running without income because of COVID-19.
I would say you take those issues up with your managing broker. Each is a case by case. There's not a blanket addendum or change that can be offered to all. So each one will have to be individually reviewed.
I'm going to just mention a couple things. We did one session on force majeures, which is whether or not what needs to be, what to look for in a contract, residential or commercial, allowing people to pay rent or not pay rent. So we're going to be doing that again soon. So look out for that one. Just a quick mention too that Florida Realtors does have a COVID-19 addendum. So if you go to Form Simplicity, I would check out their COVID-19 addendum on there as well. But a lot of these things, as Daniel said, go to your broker, or some of these are going to have to deal with an attorney.
Yeah, that amendment is also part of what I mentioned with the guidance for realtors from Florida Realtors and the National Association of Realtors, which you can access through our COVID-19 page, miamirealtors.com/coronavirus.
There's a question about construction and rehabs. And we actually, along with government affairs and leadership, we dealt with some of this in the past couple of weeks. Many governing bodies, and again, it depends where you are, because we are dealing with different municipalities. But many are still conducting recertifications for homes in the cities and jurisdictions where it is required for a sale. We are seeing TCOs and COs and inspections continuing. In the construction meetings, we have seen that they are permitting third-party professionals to conduct the inspection, and you can submit this online to certain municipalities that accept it. So construction is continuing, and we are seeing, like I said, the research for the jurisdictions that do require it for home sales.
We have a question from Albert Yabor. He says, Daniel, can you talk a little about the paradigm shift and how it will ultimately impact brokerages? What do you see in terms of future trends for broker owners, especially the independents?
You know, this was always a question before with the iBuyer and some of the trends that we were seeing. And if you'll notice, Redfin and Zillow and a lot of these iBuyer platforms kind of stopped their hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my screen just turned off. So they kind of shut off their platforms. And I think what we're going to see as a benefit as independents and local is that we have a better understanding of what's really going on in these sub neighborhoods. And you're going to have a bit more of a personal touch. There's going to be a difficult process to understand what's happening in the single family home area in South Miami compared to the single family home area in Doral. And those professionals that specialize in those areas are going to be able to make the difference. We just went through a lot in Miami Beach, and unfortunately, you know, we're seeing some transactions there, like what happened in 57 Ocean and some others. So, you know, it's going to, the personal touch and the ability to be virtual is kind of going to help us be on par with some of these large tech processes that we're trying to, let's say, creep in and take some of the market share. We kind of can fight back now by having access to all this virtual and tech.
Okay, great. Let's see. I know there's still questions on BombBomb. We'll get that information to you if you're not able to access. Are there any other questions that we haven't answered? A lot of them seem to touch on the same topic, so I haven't mentioned them specifically. Is there anything in particular that we haven't discussed that you'd like more information on? Okay. I'm sorry, anything else you'd like to add, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm copying the information for BombBomb and a couple of other programs. But you're going to get a lot more information if you go to the Miami sites. Really lean on your association to get more information. There's also a lot of great designations that are available now to help us become more experts in what we already do so well. I'd also like to mention that it's been really great to see the community, the industry come together. We're doing a lot of great things with other companies working together. So that's really important, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. This isn't if I work for one company or another. This is about our industry. This is about moving development sales, single family home sales, general real estate as an industry forward. And it's been impressive to see the camaraderie with so many great people, whether it's on chat platforms or whether it's on individual calls, or whether it's setting up events like the one we're having on the 14th, where so many great companies are coming together to provide information to the community. And from this chat, I can see that we will probably need more bandwidth there, because we've leveled out at 300, which is our max capacity here throughout pretty much this whole presentation. And that's great. It's wonderful that people are looking for information and that we're being able to provide it. So also please visit that chat that we'll be doing on the 14th, April 14th. If you don't have the information already, reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you out with that.
We'll be promoting that in a lot of other programs. Letty Oliver that I mentioned earlier, Paul, a lot of the different departments are working to bring more and relevant programming during this time. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, including the program that Daniel mentioned. There's one that the Miami Herald is doing on the 8th. So please look out for those notifications because there is a lot of that. On Miami Realtors Live, there's already 350 trainings, webinars that have been recorded and uploaded, and we continue to upload those. We'll upload this one as well. And if you have any questions that we haven't answered, feel free to email me, and I will point you in the right direction or get you the information. And again, we miss seeing you. We're confident that we will overcome and that we will come back much stronger and much better and more effective, as Daniel said. We are definitely concerned about your health and safety and the continuity of your business while remaining safe and healthy. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else?
Lynda, yeah, we're having actually quite a few additional questions and
okay.
They're asking about remote notaries for international purposes. And it depends how you structure the transaction, but we are able to do that. In fact, we have several resources for us that we're using in Fortune, in Argentina, Brazil, and other locations. So remote notary does work internationally, depending on how the transaction is structured. The other thing I did want to mention, going back to best practices, Lynda, is that as we move through this technology, let's say, boom in our industry and switching to all of these virtual platforms and groups and whatnot, it's important that we also catch up on what's the proper etiquette and process in those groups. Some chats have many people in them. Some platforms are a multitude of people. And if you have a direct question for one individual in the chat, it would be important that you maybe take that offline and don't share it with everyone, because although information may be beneficial to all, it is overwhelming when you have to do a catch up of 800 to 1,000 messages because it was reply to all. And the danger in that reply to all process is that there may be within those 800 or 1,000 messages, 2 messages that are extremely important for the one person, because of all the other reply to alls, those 2 messages may have been lost. So try to catch up, and you can Google some of these etiquette processes in these chat rooms and in these groups and in this technology to be able to not overwhelm people. It's great that we have these growing chats, but you don't want people to drop off the chat because they're overwhelmed. Are you there?
Yes, that's great. Just trying to see if there's any other question we missed from the ones. Roger Fonegra is saying, you think that companies will reduce the number of satellite offices because of their ability to get paid, other email brokerages to be closed, even if it's not certain yet?
Could you repeat the question?
If you think that companies, brokers and companies will reduce their number of offices, satellite offices, because of their ability, I think they meant to get paid.
So I'm not sure I 100% understand the question, but I would say that as we evolve through this process, and as we mentioned that certain systems and processes that we're putting in place are going to remain long after this, it's very possible that we'll see an evolution in what is bricks and mortar, and again, the ability to reach so many people at one time. This is we found a way to become very efficient. You'll probably see better home office setups. That'll probably be an important issue to our buyers and renters as we move forward in analyzing a property. It's not just how big is the bedroom, how nice is the kitchen, what do the bathrooms look like, but where do I set my quote unquote studio or virtual environment where I'll be conducting business.
Jose Laos asks, with all the unemployment, do you see a drop in qualified buyers in the near future? Lenders require employment to qualify. How will that affect potential unemployed buyers? I want to add before that a lot of what's in the CARES Act allows for forbearance and with student loans and mortgages, and their credit will not be impacted. But I understand that some people may be unemployed. And I think the answer to that is the duration of this. Most economists are confident that if this is short in duration and we all do our part, then it won't have an impact. People will return to normal and have jobs, so it won't be a huge impact. Would you like to add something, Daniel?
I think it's too soon to tell how we're going to deal with the unemployment process. We're again, the CARES package is large, and we'll see how quickly things come back. And look, we've had some really positive news coming out of Europe, and some of the numbers declining. If that continues, the understanding that we've been given is that we're about 2 weeks behind those countries. So, we may be able to start to see something sooner than later, and that'll help everyone, the entire community. So it's I think a little soon to tell, but we need to be ready for this process. And in terms of the qualifying, I would say absolutely qualify now. Before we maybe wanted to meet everybody, because if they didn't like this one property, we could probably sell them something else. But today we could do a lot of that online. Before you actually go show a property and do the social distancing process and following the CDC guidelines, go ahead and qualify.
Okay, great. So I think we're coming to the end of our time here. Thank you so much all for your engagement, your participation. We'll make the recording available so you can go back and check. If there's any questions that we didn't answer, we may be addressing in a future seminar, or just reach out to us because we're happy to find the answer for you. Anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you all for participating. It was really great to be able to do this. There were some really great questions. I'm sure there's many more. If you need to reach out to us, you can, whether it's at the association or you can reach out to me directly. I'm very proud and happy to serve. And I think we have an outstanding team at the association, and I'm very proud of some of the wonderful, great people that we deal with in our industry. Thank you very much all for participating.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone.